Hello, and welcome to Simulacra Studios presents Trinity Continuum Aeon ASIYAH. I am your story guide, Scott. Here are my awesome players. Our information and pronouns are all on the screen in the show notes. When last we left our freelance Psi users. Well, okay, before we get to that, I need to talk about physics for a second.
Yep, got it.
The Trinity Continuum, it is still Newtonian physics. This is not space dogfights. It's not just like atmosphere, but it's space. A thing moves one direction and it keeps going. And Earth-based ships, for the very least, still work on like the same principles. It's a lot more like the Expanse,
Yes.
than it is anything else. We don't really go into that much detail when we describe it, but that is how it works. You have to decelerate and accelerate. It's important. It's important.
You have to apply forces when you want to move or do anything else.
Yeah.
You have to apply a certain amount of force in a certain direction.
It's easy to forget about it because of the grav crystals or the gravity system we have, because the interiors of the ship make it much more like Star Trek or whatever. But I just wanted to point that out, that when we're talking about like how ships actually move in physical space, laws of physics generally still apply unless there's fuckery about. Speaking of which, when last we left, you guys had come upon a absolutely astronomically large, like quantum holographic projector.
Sure did.
That was covering multiple light years of space in order to essentially hide a section of space from astronomical detection.
Right.
And as you were beginning to examine that, because I believe Asher and Alex were psychically linked and examining it from a distance, your ship's systems detected fast movers. And that's where we left off. Now, when I say fast movers, I want to make sure that I describe what is happening. The ship's sensors detect 3 fast-moving objects coming in from different parts of the solar system, and then they are suddenly very quickly decelerating you at like space scale of medium.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
So that whole thing about Newtonian physics didn't happen here.
Oh, okay. They
just accelerated, and they are in a sort of like a 3-point surrounding you.
Interesting.
So they
That's less good.
So they have space brakes.
or
that's
something.
just-
I could do something.
It could be some weird Novatech. It could be.
TK can do something similar. Like it can just kill the momentum of something.
True.
some
However, that's happening now. I need all of you to roll initiative, please.
Got it.
My dice.
Awesome. Good job. Love you, Dice.
Back to 8s.
Yes,
Yup.
that is a thing.
This is weird.
Yep.
Did I not have... Did I take my
Okay.
dice somewhere else?
There's plenty of dice right there.
Okay. Oh, there they are.
Sorry.
Those are the D&D dice.
Okay. So the ships are 3 of them, and to give a visual description of these are very much in the style of the Flight of the Navigator, when it's like long and pointy ship.
Yeah, very sleek and metallic.
Yeah, I don't know. Kids, look it up and watch it. It's good.
It's actually a good Disney movie.
Don't get freaked out at the eye part. I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff to freak out. That's when they had Backbone when they made movies.
Yep.
Anyway. Okay. So yes, they come in and they are sort of surrounding you in at 3 different points. And the first thing that happens is the hologram projection of your shipboard AI freezes and glitches and disappears. And you're able to detect from the like sort of massive blinking lights that there is a massive amount of information going back and forth from your communication system. Let's see, what'd you get?
2.
Okay, we'll go pass it to Alex first.
Tap!
What the fuck?
What is
No, sir. I do not like this.
There is a major complication on this, so it's a 3-point complication on this particular roll.
That's fine. Taps one of my lower ones, so I'll get a bunch of. If I roll anything, I'll be able to overcome it.
Oh, oops.
That's not the right amount of dice.
This is why I have a jacket. This is cold.
It's
I'm cold, at least.
We're recording this in January, by the way, in the South, so that's fun.
yeah.
Who knew it would be
If you
so
wanna-
topsy-turvy?
January of 2025, so just look up the history of that.
Look, you'll find out how sad we are.
Yeah.
Used to be cold if it hit freezing.
You get enhancement equal to your.
The difference.
Yep, 4, and then
Up to 3.
up to 3. Okay, so that is 5 on the dice, 3 enhancement from that. Are we still doing the enhanced attunement stacks? Or not attunement?
No,
sorry,
attunement does
favored
not
mode.
stack.
Not the favored mode.
The favored mode, yeah, it's the highest source of enhancement is going to apply.
Okay, so well, I should get rid of that. Okay, that is 8.
Okay, that is more than enough to get the difficulty and overcome the complication. You have to. What happens when you tap into the system, and when you are able to overcome that complication is, you kind of have to, like, mentally fortify yourself and also give in to what is happening, and you are able to kind of like slide the difference between those two. To everyone else, it appears as Alex kind of like her eyes roll into the back of her head and she is seizing slightly, but it doesn't appear as though she's like collapsing or anything.
okay.
Does it affect
Okay.
him since we're linked?
Oh yeah, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
There we
Sorry.
go. That's all.
You feel her mental processing is having, like, through the psychic connection that you have, you feel like the electrokinesis, the technokinesis is boosting her mental processes in a way to facilitate what she's doing, and it feels like there's some like asynchronicity between you and her. You doubt that that this will be healthy for her for a very long period of time. But anyway, since we're still in your initiative, your sensation of the world around you shifts dramatically. You are standing in a very sparse-looking desert garden, like an oasis. There are some very rudimentary stone structures around, and there is a pool of water with some like potted greenery. And standing by that pool of water, you see Ship and 3 identical Middle Eastern women in front of him. And they are absolutely giving Ship the business. They are like one of them is very clearly speaking in tones of like deep worry and concern. Where were you? We expected you so long ago. Another one is giving him absolute hell about who are these people? Why do you have unauthorized people in your ship? Where the fuck are our the third one is going on about like the supplies. Where's our resupply? We needed this. Something has started to happen. We needed this. And you also can detect they are calling Ship by the name Akiva. They seem to be focused on Ship right now. But if you feel, you feel like kind of your own brain heating up here. So you've gotten kind of like this snapshot glimpse into what is happening. It's still happening a little too fast for you to get like the full details of it. But what would you like to try and do?
Sorry about the interruption.
When you call attention to
Or
yourself,
intrusion, yeah.
when you call attention to yourself, they all turn to you, and then the surroundings change entirely. ship, and 2 of them disappear, and you're in a business. You're like in a conference room with one of them, and you do start to feel like things coming back into equilibrium.
That's better.
This is very interesting.
I can leave if you would like to continue your conversation. I just came to make sure that Mr. Akiva was okay.
We do not use that appellate. Akiva, as we know him. Yes, we certainly need to speak with you. My others are continuing to discuss things with him. Yes, so you are Electrokinetic, yes? I see. We should probably handle this on your timescale, as I assume you have others.
Yes, this, yeah, I don't want my brain to melt out of my head while we're speaking.
Yes, let us, we'll how do this over your communication system. So yeah, back into this time scale. Who would you have passed it to next?
Yeah, I'm going to be remote looking inside those ships.
Okay, make me a roll.
Can I access my physical body at all before the end of my turn?
I will let you know
Okay.
when things sync back up.
10.
10? Okay.
I want to see who's piloting these things.
You detect no pilots.
Automated. Shit.
You see there is like there's definitely like computerized systems. There's cargo bays. You focus on one of them and like sort of like parallel process look at the other ones. They seem to be sort of identically loaded out. There certainly are weapons on board, both shipboard and hand to hand. There you see like racks of humanoid robotic figures that all seem to be kitted out for shipboard combat. Sort of in kind of racks and rows, and what definitely seems like a boarding vessel. And it's all sort of identically chaired out. Who would you pass it to?
Well, can I do one speed of thought question down?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
We talking or are we fighting?
Talking.
Okay, we're talking.
Good to know.
Power down everything. Passing it to Vega.
All right. I don't know how to, like, do the equivalent of, like, obviously, like, not going on aggressive alert or anything.
Give me a presence plus pilot.
Fly casual. This is in
That's
fly
fly
casual.
casual.
Fly casual.
All right. We're just... Cool. Presence and pilot. Well... Sorry. 2 successes?
Okay, keep it steady.
To fly casual? Yeah. Yeah.
And then that would be...
Yeah. Unless...
No, give it to them.
Give it to them, yeah.
You want to
They already went.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they went first, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They got here instantaneously
Gotcha.
from the end of the
That's fair.
solar system.
I am actually going to see if I can push and then give ship more speed, just in case we need it.
Okay.
Because I don't trust these guys, people. I don't want to hear about you guys. Oh God, what did I just do?
You
Threw your
flung
damn
some
dice on the
dice.
floor like a fool.
That was not a very good fool.
We've all been.
All right.
Nope, that's not going to work.
Not gonna work? Okay, yeah,
Ship is too big for me at this juncture.
All right. So you're still kind of tapped into the system. You definitely feel that it is still going at like sort of like hyper data speed. So you definitely think you'd be distracted if you were still tapped into it. But you do sort of like feel it shifting over to like put them on screen essentially.
Okay, so, if it's putting them on the screen in our ship, I'll retreat back into my body.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So our timescales sync back up. The center holographic projection pops up, and you see a maybe a little bit more than middle-aged Middle Eastern woman wearing a very sharp business suit, sitting behind a desk.
Before she says
Let them
anything,
speak.
before they say anything, I look at you and go, "Is ship all right?"
They appeared to be okay. That it seems that they know each other, or at least they know ship.
Interesting. Well,
Have they filled you in on their current situation?
she pauses for a second. We are currently debriefing him, yes.
So you'll understand why we're calling them ship instead of whatever their actual name is.
Yes, we are beginning to understand that. However, there are many areas of concern that need to be rectified.
Well,
I suppose introductions are the first matter of business. While we collectively are individuals, you can also refer to each of us as Siberia.
What a relief to know.
And you are?
I'm Alex Foster.
Asher Golden.
You can call me Corporal for now.
Vega.
I see. Well, you are currently occupying a Confederation vessel, and while preliminary discussions with Akiva tell us that he has given you authorization in the manner he is capable of, we also definitely detect that his core has been compromised. His explanation for this is that he had to do a memory wipe to prevent classified information from falling into enemy hands. While this would be a satisfactory explanation of such an occurrence, we must confirm this.
Well, I will warn you that if you're going to do so through telepathy to check our memory of it, we have that would be inadvisable at the moment.
Telepathy is beyond our capability. No. As Akiva's ranking officer, I am suspending his authorization of your command of the ASIYAH, and we will be boarding you, and we will check directly.
Okay.
Any objections?
No, we'd love to meet in person.
Excellent. Please relocate to the galley.
I wanted to do something while they're talking. I'm just looking up a power.
Release the cats.
I'm about to say, should we release the kitties?
Release the cats.
Yep.
You use tap, right? What level is tap?
One, or
What?
that's the first one.
I wanted to use tap to get into the system while they're talking everything and basically going, okay, I want to get just a general view of what's going on in the system and if I need to just monitor it, if I have to do something.
Okay.
I'm going to drop our connection for now. Not the mind link, but our link. Since we don't need to be reaching.
I do activate it.
Okay.
So basically, while they're talking, my hand is just like on my console, and all I want to do with tap is just be observant with what is going on,
Okay.
kind of monitoring
With the
everything.
ASIYAH itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can definitely tell that all of your command codes are no longer operative.
Okay. But tap could technically
You
override
could
it.
technically override that.
Yes.
And
Well,
yeah,
tap couldn't access good.
yeah, that's right. Tap could not, but access could.
Okay.
So yeah, like you can tell that you all have been locked out of control
Okay.
of the ship. And give me an Enigmas roll.
Sure. I'm good at that. Is this an investigation? Considered an investigation action?
Sure.
Okay. Stupid 8s. How much momentum we got?
We have 4.
Can I spend 2 of it, guys?
Sure.
Okay, I'll spend 2 to make sure I get a success.
As you're sort of like looking over at that, there was no sort of hacking or anything. They
Right.
put in a code was input, an authorized part of the system was inputted and acted upon, and that just happened.
Okay.
Oh, Before I get to the galley, I actually would like to go take the. If it looks like we have a moment, I want to take the equalizer and go put it back where I found it. If that takes too long, I will put it in my quarters. But
It would be faster to put it in your quarters.
yep, I put it in my quarters.
Okay.
Were the cats already out?
Yeah, they're out in the ship.
Excellent.
Good.
They will be our diplomats.
That's what. No, I was like,
cats.
want to know if they would respond to them or if they.
Do you want me to monitor things from the bridge while you go play diplomat?
I think we all need to go to the galley.
No, there will be there. We're all
Corporal.
yeah. They're not gonna cotton to any nonsense. This is
Well,
obviously their ship, so
Yes, but we should also protect ourselves.
I think if they wanted to kill us, they would have killed us by now. You should see how strapped. They have so many boarding mechs on those ships that we wouldn't be able to fight them all.
And speaking of which, there are
Well, we
three
could, but it would suck.
like shuttle launches from the various ship. You guys, as you guys are like looking at this thing, you see docking open, authorization granted for these three vessels as they scoot their way towards your docking bay.
So they said Confederation, right?
They said
Yeah.
Federation.
Confederation.
Confederation.
that a
Okay.
Federation.
Wait, is that a
What
entity
was the Aeon? That was the Covenant.
Well, the Covenant was the one thing. I don't know if this is a new version of that or something, but I
This
guess
is-
we're going to find out.
This is obviously related to something that the ASIYAH was a part of
Can I roll
when you found them.
with the Nova Core stuff to know if there's any thing I've ever heard of about a
Sure. Yeah. Make a humanities roll, and you can add your Nova Core die.
Cool.
I am locked
Intellect, I
out.
would hope.
Intellect. Sorry.
Yeah, intellect. Yes.
I know I can't. We're locked out, but is there like a bell or something so I can summon the kitties?
Yeah, absolutely. You can.
Excellent.
Court is in
Let
session.
them know. Tuna will be soon.
I banged the tuna gavel.
Get the bad rolls out of the way. 0 successes.
0 successes. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, shit, are they
So
still
yeah, are
dressed
you
up?
are you all heading to the galley?
Oh
or-
yes.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
put my hands on the table and just like being very polite and waiting.
Okay. So as you guys get to the galley, you definitely are joined by kitties
Excellent.
who are pawing at the food extractor.
Yes, yes.
And you guys sort of hear sounds happening from the docking bay, and a very regulated ka-chunk, 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 as you see about 30 humanoid, but pretty bare bones, bearing some sort of like a carbine-style weapon, sort of march through and start to fan out. And the same Middle Eastern woman you saw before, looking very human, but if anyone cared to do any sort of size detection on them,
I was
Oh, yes.
just going to use the
Some
sight and
quantum
see
sense.
what's your aptitude, lady.
okay,
Brilliant eye.
I'm doing quantum sense.
okay,
I'm not that cool.
I too was also going to do some quantum sense on them.
Yeah, subquantum. Thank you, subquantum.
I mean, if they're Nova, awesome. That'll be great too.
What? Oh, added. Well, we actually are back up to 4 momentum because I failed one roll and I just failed this
Oh, I
one.
also failed a roll.
okay.
So
Okay.
Wow.
5.
I am rolling terribly.
3.
3, not biological in the slightest.
Ooh.
Complete robot.
just a 1.
1, there's probably it's not on the scale of a quantum user, but there is a quantum-based power source inside them.
Psi-hole.
Yeah, just like you see them as a thing. Like
Yeah,
they are real. They're not like bleeding corruption or anything. But they're not alive. They're not biological in any sense of the word. That is a very well done like human replicant android.
Well, in that case, I'm rising to meet this human replicant android, and I'm extending my hand in the normal human way that a human does when they greet someone. And I hope no one tries to shoot me.
She offers her hand.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
I just put up, but I did put up biosense. I'm assuming no life.
Nope,
There's
none,
no life.
none whatsoever.
Got it.
You and the
Okay.
kitties are the only living things within your attunement range.
Got it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the rest of the guys.
Nope. They are very clearly robots.
Okay,
Like
one
you can
make
see
sure.
their internal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boarding mechs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and they are
All right, yeah,
off
so-
and going off through all the ship.
I also greet her.
No. So it's like, let us sit.
Can I get you anything to eat? Oh, wait. Sorry. Silly.
She says, this unit can process sustenance. It doesn't do anything for me, but I do enjoy it. I was going to see if we could get some tea.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my suit, which was more of the combat form, has turned in more back into that blank uniform that I generally wear, so that he is more relaxate when he sits down.
And he's putting. Oh, by the way, he's putting on the face he puts on when the dean shows up for some high function. You know, he's obviously putting on his white people voice.
Yes.
So he is humming a little tune as he's preparing the tea.
Just being the sweetest little guy.
Oh, he's a little guy.
So that we don't embarrass ourselves. We are aware that, we are certainly aware that at least one of you has, I believe, what is known as electrokinetic capability. Any attempt to use that capacity to change or alter ourselves as we are cybernetic life forms, as it were, would be considered an act of war and responded to appropriately.
I would also consider that the deepest violation. You have my assurances that won't happen. Ship has been a beloved crewmate of ours for some time now. I'll extend you the same courtesy I would any other person.
That is much appreciated. I simply needed to make it clear,
Of course.
so that we did not have any embarrassments. That out of the way, I'm sure you all have questions.
Yeah. What, you said the Confederation?
Yes, the Confederation. That is sort of the... There are different names for what we are. I'm sure you know, I don't have to tell you, that humanity had a bit of a schism some decades ago.
Yeah.
The Confederation is where the majority of those who left congregated in the Perseus arm.
I see. That makes sense.
Oh, so the Novas as well.
Yes, I believe if you were to call it, use a form of government, it would be Novarchy. But it is most commonly known as the Confederation.
Oh, that's good to finally find out who our friend was, originally working with.
Yes. This is actually, our presence here is something of an anomaly. Generally, the Confederation doesn't operate in the Orion arm, with a very few exceptions. The ASIYAH being one of them.
Where is the ship? Where is ship right now?
His core is still here, and it is being examined for any discrepancies in his story.
Can they join us for this conversation?
No.
I understand that.
We have to be absolutely certain that nothing has compromised him in order to even consider returning command of this vessel over to you.
Oh, well, I'm glad to know that's even in the cards. I was worried.
Well, proper captain of it. If obviously, from what we've heard and can surmise, the proper captain of this vessel is no more, and Akiva would have been... Yeah, his proper name is Akiva, by the way. I believe he's forgotten it, but
Yes.
you may call him Akiva. Yes, it would have been within his purview to hand over command, particularly, and she pauses and says, to a member of Aeon. Trinity, yes.
Yes.
Clever, but acceptable. Yes. So I gather you... Yes, you are not of the Covenant, though.
No.
None of you are of the
had no
Covenant
contact
proper.
with them.
Nope.
I see.
Though I am quite interested.
Yes, well, they operate within the Confederation. Although... I am not of the Covenant. But we are not of the Covenant ourselves.
Can I ask for a clarification question
Yes.
of your status? Am I speaking to a being that is projected into this body, or are you your own singular individual currently? Are you being...
For our purposes, my consciousness is currently being projected into this body.
Understood.
Well, ship's core, or at least part of ship, was left closer to, terra firma, which is why he's in this Akiva. He is in this configuration.
That is in keeping with what we've been able to determine, yes. That is within the operating parameters of the ASIYAH and Confederation vessels of this type. Our main concern is with Akiva himself rather than the ship itself. Anyway, any other questions?
Are you curious about why we came here?
Yes, I would say we are. I mean, it's...
So, your name is Sideria, correct?
Yes, collectively we are Sideria. We have individual identities, but it is unnecessary. You would... For us to have anything other than enough consensus for all of us to speak, one of us to speak for all of us, it would be a meaningless distinction to you.
Understood. Your name was engraved upon a slab that hit Mars.
You're going to need to unpack that a little bit more for me, please.
Oh, there's so much.
Well, remember that thing I said about the Oh, you wouldn't have a... Okay, well, I can talk about it with you. It might not infect you. It might make me go a little nuts, though. So, one of the bad ones, I won't say his name out loud, corrupted some sort of delivery device from the Covenant, which had your name, Akiva's ship's name,
Messiah.
the Bifrost,
And
Eden engraved upon it. We figured out the other three, meeting you when I went looking for you, because I am a Clairsentient, and I went looking for Sideria, and I got pointed to, I guess, the only tiniest bit of space that isn't covered by that insane field you guys put up.
Oh, no, that's not of our construction.
Oh, really? Is that just some old Novatech that...
No. We'll get into that once we've confirmed Akiva's status.
Fair.
While this conversation is going on, I want to do EM sense. I want to get an idea of the different signals that are coming in and off of this person.
Okay.
Finally got a flipping success. All right, so got one side. This just lets me know I can see and sort of pinpoint signals that are coming in and off of this unit.
There are like electrical signals and whatnot. In terms of a clear signal, there certainly is one. It is a quantum-based connection.
So I do need, instead of using electrokinesis, I would probably use quantikinesis to, if I wanted to disrupt
If you wanted
that
to fuck with it, yes.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Are the armed androids, are they pointing their guns at us, or are they just kind of standing around us?
Only about 10 of them are still here. No, they are standing weapons down.
Good to know.
Not pointing at you at all.
I actually have another question. And he looks to the guards. Are those each individuals, or are they all just networked, essentially drones?
They operate. They can operate independently on, I believe, the level of what is known on Earth as a satisfactory intelligence. However, they can be remotely piloted by others.
Understood.
Are there? Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you have...
No, I'm just being silly.
I understand if you wouldn't want to answer this question until you've verified that we're not spies. But are there more presence here than just the Sideria I have seen? Are there other people? Or...
That's a complicated question. There are...
Would you like me to simplify it?
Yes.
Is there a settlement here? Not necessarily human, but one where people like you could live, or just... Is there a population?
Yes, there is a population here. There's a population of us, and there are small populations within the field. That's a very complicated. There's a lot to that. That is, I'm not giving you a very good answer to that, but
that's exciting. I can't expect you to break down the entire socio-political.
No, that'd be there's
Yeah.
a lot of information, and again, you don't know me from Adam, so
yes.
I appreciate how candid you've been so far.
We'll keep things at a pace. So, to clarify, the Covenant sent something back into Earth space.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. We were not aware of that operation. I'm curious as to whether the Confederation was made aware of it as well.
Well,
We'll have to check about that. Of course, the Covenant has its own mandate and can do what it needs to do, but it does not always line up with the whole of the Confederation's aims. We, with very rare exceptions, do abide by the edict, and we stay far away from Earth unless we have a good reason to. But of course, they have their own rules. There's no empathy roll needed to detect the shade going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't imagine that they did it lightly. Or at least I would hope not.
Especially with the level of
obfuscation.
obfuscation as well as impact that it had on you three.
Yes. Well, if I am intonating what you mean by intercepted or corrupted, I would imagine that would have a great deal of impact. I don't believe for a second, although my own misgivings about them are abundant, that the Covenant would send something back to Earth with the intent to harm.
We got the
No.
idea that it was an offer of help, and that the reason we're here.
Actually, as a point of as a
ahead.
point of evidence to our benefit, it directed them to this ship, the
Yeah.
ASIYAH. That was one of their first sort of leads, as it were, in the investigation of the nature of this obelisk.
Yes. Well, as I said, I was not aware. We were not made aware of the details of that delivery or the intentions thereof. So,
So interesting that they directed us directly to you.
well, local resources of the Confederation, I imagine we are among them. We've been here for several decades, so I imagine they would include us in a laundry list of things that could be contacted.
This confederation, I'm assuming, is just not this part of space. It is a loose connection of various other settlements outside of this region.
No. The Confederation is mainly located in the Perseus arm of the galaxy, very far away from here.
Okay.
We were sent to investigate this anomaly.
Okay. Now that's clarifying some things. You're not normally from here.
No.
ASIYAH was also, it seems, investigating an anomaly, or at least, I'm not exactly sure what their original mission was, since the crew was lost.
Well, our understanding of the ASIYAH's mission was a more general watchkeeper on the Orion Spur and the expanding territories of Earth. In general, not to interfere, of course, but just to monitor and react in an emergency situations.
That is an understandable
Yeah,
situation.
they didn't get much of a choice, unfortunately. The original captain went down fighting.
That is what we gather, at least what it appears to be. She says, she pauses for a second. I believe that our checksum of Akiva's core shall take another half an hour, by which time we will have a definitive answer as to, how we will be proceeding.
In the meantime, do you have any further questions for us?
Yep, open book.
Yes and no. There are a great deal of things we are curious about. We have some Psi users in the Confederation, but they are exceptionally rare, and we are very curious about certain aspects of that.
There can be an information exchanged, but we need to come to a better accord. Due to the nature of your construction, another clarification question, please. The person I'm speaking to right now, are you a full official AI, or are you a Nova controlling a body?
I am a replicant of a Nova consciousness.
Okay, yes, understood.
Actually, whether we are replicants of a singular Nova consciousness that has replicated in order to fulfill our mission.
So you are similar to how Akiva was constructed.
Yes.
Correct. Thank you.
May I roll an empathy roll to see if she did not like being called an AI, or if that was offensive
Yeah, you
to
can
her?
do that.
Should I use? May I use intellect or should I use cunning?
Use cunning for that.
Yeah.
Gotta go fast.
Yep. 3 successes.
She wasn't offended by it, but it wasn't the proper term.
Okay.
Yes. So, any? Yes. Well, we'll leave that until things are more confirmed. But we do have some curiosity regarding that for reasons that may become more salient later.
Something we can, I think, discuss is you're here investigating this anomaly.
Yes. Well, we have investigated this anomaly. That is a very simple. There's a very simple way of a very long story.
Understood.
A very complicated story
I
in terms
see.
of what has happened here.
Anything? I know you said you had to verify certain things, but there is anything you can discuss with us because we are primarily here on a reconnaissance mission. We are not here to. We are just here to understand and to see where this pillar led us.
I was here to meet you.
Yep. We wanted to make contact with whoever Siberia was.
No, that is us. We've become embroiled with a situation here that, unfortunately, these are things we cannot fully discuss until checksum is completed, just because it's very, very complicated. But we may stand to be able to help one another a great deal, I think.
Sure. Don't suppose you guys have any aberrant problems out here?
That's not a term that the Confederation uses.
Oh, I'm sorry. That must have been a high... Okay, how do you refer to the colony and his fellows?
He says, well, as I'm not having to actually deal with Nova egos right now,
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
that is when it's a very touchy subject when speaking with Novas.
Sure.
They don't like hearing that word unless it's in a very specific context. That being when discussing the colony and those like him.
That is exactly the type of being I'm referring to. We've had to squash a fair number, so...
And we're well aware of the
That is-
difference between
Oh, we
the
are.
Nova Nova kind and
That is the bulk pejorative
The
term
corrupted.
on Earth for any Nova currently, but
yes.
those who are more educated are in the know of the differences.
We are aware.
But
So we have, in our survey of the ship, we happen to notice that you do have a stockpile of exotic alloy.
Yeah.
yes.
May I ask where you acquired it?
Yeah,
Yes.
the shipyard in the Orc Cloud
Of Soul.
of Sol.
That could describe a number of settlements, most of which we believe are destroyed at this point.
There is a look that Nathan gives you, like, just don't.
Okay. It was a shipyard. There was a large aberrant that had basically infused itself into the core.
Yep.
And we detached it and killed it. But So
In order to
Interesting. Was it Utopian? Daedalus?
Daedalus, I believe.
Okay. I see. All right. That organization was a large portion of that organization was folded into the Confederation, so technically Confederation property. But okay, interesting.
It was
We
really,
will have to discuss that after we've buttoned things up. We do have a need of that material, and
sure.
we do not currently possess the means of producing it ourselves.
We grabbed a lot of it, with the expectation that we'd probably need it at some point. The ship ASIYAH had gone under a lot of strain and stress fighting the big guy.
Yes.
He was the size of the station for the most part at that point.
Interesting.
so we decided to have our stockpile in case we had to tangle with another one.
Oh, yes, I would imagine it would be useful, but we'll have to discuss that when we can talk about other matters. Any other questions? Anything we can clear up for you?
Unfortunately, I have many questions, but I don't think all of the answers are ones you cannot tell me right now.
Tell you what, instead, let's have little cakes. And I go get little cakes.
You get a little
I do like cats.
she does notice the cats and says, like, we have records of these cats, yes.
Okay.
We've met before.
Good.
Like, the cats are, like...
They're just the sweetest.
The cats aren't really, like, interacting with her or the robots very much.
Because they don't.
I kind of figured,
They
yeah.
don't.
Well, I was
Why is that cat tree walking?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't smell anything. I don't feel any heat
Yeah.
off of it. I got nothing.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying, well, if we don't have anything more to discuss until
Yes.
political or diplomatic nature until you've verified the checksums, would you mind if I just ask you some basic technical questions about how this ship works? Nova technology is so new to us. I figured out a fair bit.
Certainly, we can discuss how the functions of the ship.
So I just spent some time talking with them about the stuff I've seen down in
Was there
the
anything you wanted to
engineering
ask?
area and
Yeah,
something-
you have, and like
No.
you don't get the sense that they are necessarily.
they're not giving me nuclear
like,
secrets.
Yeah, they're not going to give you nuclear secrets, but they'll talk about design principles
Yeah.
and all that.
Sometimes
And
it's just best to let the mouth and the brain talk.
the tea and cakes get consumed. Like there's no like hatch that opens up. It all looks right when
I bet they could if they
enters.
wanted to. Thus.
Every now and again, I do apologize for monopolizing your time. I'm going to look around the table. Nope. Okay, so anyway, so this coupling right here, it doesn't make any sense to me. So
Yeah. I was like, oh well, that technique was just discovered by in the 2050s. Hypercircuitry design was implemented, and from what we understand, that sort of technology has been banned on your planet.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so eventually, as the small talk gets undergoing, eventually she does pause again and says, "Excellent. Akiva's accounts of things do check out. I apologize for the wait. We had to be entirely sure that he was not altered or corrupted in any way. So,
fine.
that checks out, and we don't have to kill you all.
Yay!
Oh, excellent.
I would. Very well. Thank you for that.
So, we should talk more about the situation.
Could Akiva rejoin us now? If unless you're still
He's
debriefing,
recompiling at the moment.
Okay.
will he be this? Will he remember us? Will he be the same?
Yes,
Oh,
he will remember. Hopefully, he will remember some more of what was lost.
Oh, good.
We don't necessarily have a backup of him, but we do have. We haven't encountered one another before, and our experience can fill in gaps in his experience.
That's good.
That's part of what's happening right now. Is
Oh,
he's
thank you.
being more brought up to date.
Yeah, his gaps were obviously a point of, soreness and frustration for him. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
we
that
can't restore it all, but we can restore some.
A firmware update, as it were.
Yes. So, What are you most curious about that we can talk about now that our
Well, I want to understand more about the situation here, and you say you have a settlement, a community within this anomaly.
Okay. So, it'd be probably best if I started from the beginning. Long-range spatial telescopes detected something not right in this area of space roughly 40 years ago. We were dispatched to... well, the first of us was dispatched here to check things out, and, well, maybe we should move beyond the barrier, beyond the projection. There's some things that will sound absolutely insane if you are not verifying them with your own eyes and sensors.
That would be great. We can move this conversation to the bridge.
It's all right. We can pilot the ship. And you hear the engine come online, and the ship moves. You guys hear the thrum of the ship moving. When you pass through, like there's some projections that kind of like show you where you're going. There's like a rippling distortion of things, and Asher, your sort of like sensation of like space and time and where things are all kind of supposed to be, you kind of get a fucking like you go through an automated car wash. Essentially.
He makes that actual noise.
Oh.
Yeah, things are
Where's the
not
bucket?
cool. Like you're the first one to sense it. And all the rest of you kind of feel a little. It's not corruption.
Yeah.
It's just the noetic patterns of things start to just feel a little off.
This whole fucking place is at a Dutch angle.
I am. Oh, you are. You said you were clairsentient. Yeah.
Also also a minor teleporter. So
Oh my God, that must be awful for you.
it's not my favorite
I'm
thing that I've
starting to think
experienced.
that this field, whatever it does, is obviously spatial distortion as well.
Yes, to some degree, and the projector in the galley shows essentially what is inside of the space. It kind of like zooms and appropriates. And what you see is essentially all of like the surrounding stars that you would see just are like blacked out.
So everything outside.
Everything outside is blacked out. So it is a lot of void. And you guys see, and because this has a holographic projection, it kind of like rotates a couple of times to kind of give you the entire picture. There are only 26 stars in this 40 light year cubic section of space, and they are themselves arranged in a perfect cube. And in the center point of the cube, where there would be another star, you can see like kind of just like a cloud, like a big cloud. If anyone would like to make a science roll,
Yes.
for that specifically.
Sure.
So, I'm not going to because I'm an idiot. So the first time you see it, is the instinct to scream normal? Because that's what I want.
I got a 1.
No.
Oh, that shouldn't be.
6 on the dice, plus 2 enhancement if lightning calculator applies.
Right. So this situation doesn't make sense. The thing that makes the most sense is that kind of like large cloud thing. A star exploded.
Oh,
Not a very big one, Yeah, you would get that too.
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
not like a supernova or anything, but a star exploded in the center of this.
Those stars were moved.
Yes.
Do you know by whom?
Yes. There was a civilization here when we got here.
When you got here 40 years ago.
Yes, a civilization that had spatial manipulation technology that even some of our brightest back home in the Confederation are still confused about based on the updates we've been able to give them. From what we gather, they had an extreme aversion to leaving their home to any degree, but they still had a need for resources. So they brought stars and their attendant planets to them.
So instead of colonizing out, they just accumulated them.
Yes. And when we spoke of populations, not all of them, but, well, more than 0 of them, which was incredibly disturbing, did have intelligent life, including a handful of what would be considered civilizations amongst themselves.
You mean the stars they brought in for their own use?
Yes.
Had their own...
They dragged the solar systems with them?
Yes.
Yeah, they pulled the entire gravity well with them.
I can take a guess based on what I know of Earth history, but how'd it go for those civilizations that they brought in?
Complete ecological upheaval. None of the civilizations survived, and very few of the populations survived. There's a handful on a couple of planets still making of life, but they've been essentially each of them has been reduced to the Stone Age.
And I'm assuming more primitive or basic life is still existent on these planets because they can still orbit or at least function around suns.
Their relative position was maintained. They needed metals and biological resources.
I'm so sorry. Continue.
No, ask.
Did you make contact with any of these populations and or the civilization that kidnapped them?
Oh boy, did we make contact. As I said, we've done surveys on some of the planets. We doubt, well, some of them may survive on their own, but as I said, all civilizations have been wiped out. The infrastructure was completely destroyed by ecological catastrophe. We're currently taking the attitude of being watchmen of those peoples. We very quickly came into conflict with the core civilization.
What do you call them?
The harvesters. We never really got to the point of sharing proper names. To make it clear, we did not simply go off on a warpath.
No.
But they found out that we were here, and we came into conflict.
So were they an alien species?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. That
They were not Nova or human or anything of the like.
Can I make a roll
Sure.
to see if I've ever heard if humanity's ever encountered the harvesters before?
Sure.
While he's doing that, well, I certainly can't help but notice you're using the past tense for who they were.
Yes.
All of them?
Let's keep telling the story.
Oh, apologies.
So, what'd you roll? Yeah, no, that's not familiar at all.
Fine.
So, one of the reasons we simply didn't pull out was because we detected, through our various investigations, we had to, we made the decision to replicate on a massive scale after the first few confirmations of what was happening because we needed to deal with, we needed to have some sort of response to this. We detected that they were about to expand their sphere of accumulation. And that would definitely put Earth in the bullseye. The Earth would be in the stellar neighborhood of where they were going to expand. And even though we are no longer citizens, that still is not acceptable to the Confederation. And we did the math on it, and some people back home did the math on it, and there was a very real threat that expanding out to that degree would trigger vacuum decay. Just an unacceptable outcome. So we had to stay in the ground and inactive. As for how it all shook out, we were workshopping options of how to deal with the threat when a faction of us committed us to total war.
As they do.
Yes. And so once we were committed by them, we had ourselves a little bit of an argument for about 10 minutes. And then realized that we had to go as far as we could, and it wasn't pretty, but we were able to destroy their home star. There are some of them left out in the world, but yes, this home star in the system is gone. Not how most of us wanted to have done it, but our hands were forced.
I want to try to do empathy. It's
Sure.
a robot, so it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I actually would like to as well. I'm trying to think about like, what would they? Are they or is she concealing something about this situation from us, or what would she be likely to want to conceal?
Okay.
So.
What are you trying to
I'm
sniff
looking
out?
at it as like, oh, we were committed to doing this. Like, we had no choice. I'm trying to see if there's any deception or duplicity of like, this is a story that I'm feeding them to make us look good.
Okay. You're not getting you do not detect any sort of like polishing up of the story. Like this is how it went down. Like according to their perspective, this is how it went down. Things happened amongst them that they would have either had to abandon the situation or totally commit.
Right.
And they went with total commitment. And
4.
what was your angle again?
Very similar to his. Like, what kind of things would she be concealing from us if there is something being concealed here about this?
The faction of them is clearly a sore point.
Yeah.
Like there's more to that story.
I have a couple of questions that are sort of tangential, but I know you wanted to tell the story, so I can parking lot them for now if you like.
No. That is essentially what our situation is here.
So there's a lot of Siberia out there in the world now, out there in the galaxy. Or out here.
There are other. The initial replication run was within the Confederation was rather small, but we operate on the Van Neumann probe, so replicate, spread out, to try and get a better idea of what's going on in the galaxy. Our branch is about 1,000 strong, roughly. That's about as much as the resources that we could. And she kind of, hence our interest in your stockpile.
Next question. Have you discovered other intelligent aliens, life forms that aren't ones that are known to humanity?
Not, well, several here, but they are
Right.
not in a state of.
Or so, yeah. I'm just wondering outside of this situation.
I think. I don't think I can discuss that. That is certainly beyond the classified wall of the Confederation.
Over the mind link, I'm like, so do we ask them about the strangers?
The Doyen?
I haven't said that word.
Oh, you haven't yet?
Nope.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
that's what I've just
Them.
been calling them.
Sorry, the
but-
strangers. Yeah, fuck it.
Have you ever encountered I don't know their name, or what they call themselves, but they're Psi-based, or they're If someone has a better description
Are
than I
you
do.
talking about them?
Yes.
I would table that for right now.
I mentioned that we had questions about electrokinesis and other psi capabilities.
That is what triggered me to ask that question in the first place.
That you're asking about that means give me a moment, please. And she kind of leans back.
In the link. Oh wait, you wouldn't be able to hear.
I can't hear you. You can't make any arguments to me.
Well, it's like, then that sounds like they probably may have running up against them too.
Yep.
I give you the.
Yeah, I'll give you a little.
And she comes back. We've come to an accord. I think that's. So I mentioned that there was a faction of us that acted before the others. We think that they got help from somewhere because they spearheaded the destruction of the star, and we're still not entirely clear how they did it.
And they've been tight-lipped on that subject, I imagine.
Yes, and well, to put a point on it, we are no longer united.
Okay, so that was actually my next set of questions. When you're talking about us and we and the 1,000 strong, is it 1,000 individual nodes of Sideria, or are we talking about 1,000 of these guys? I put it.
No, 1,000 individual replicants.
Of Sideria. Okay.
Each of us in a ship, like the ones surrounding.
Oh, okay. That. So one faction of the replicants.
Yes.
Okay.
We are in a state of conflict amongst ourselves now. After the destruction of the harvesters, they became paranoid, and we don't even really understand the nature of their grievance. They just simply aren't cooperating with us anymore and have taken, and she kind of waves, and you see the projection of like about 6 star systems. They've taken a portion of the cube for themselves and do not allow any of us passage. We are not in an active war with one another, but it is certainly, I would say, meet the description of a Cold War.
I'm about to say very chilly.
Couple questions so we can get on sort of the same page. Obviously, you had to, when they committed their forces to conducting this action, aka the destruction of this central star, when you obviously are almost always in communication with one another on some very quick level with each other, right?
Yes.
Did it seem like they were acting very sporadically, and no one of your ilk could detect what they were doing? If there was something wrong, you couldn't detect that there was something wrong.
They were acting very strangely, out of character. There is a phenomenon that we have noticed amongst ourselves of personality drift, but this is extreme.
But my clarification, any sort of questioning or diagnostic into that could not to tell you that there was something wrong, correct?
Correct. Which is why we expect something like electrokinetic manipulation.
It is something that they seem to be skilled at.
That and manipulating, humans.
That and yes, it's a little worse
General
for us.
manipulation all around,
They can possess.
There is a species, and I cannot go into a lot of detail with you. We've only just met. But they are, from what you are telling me right now, they may be the culprit of it because they act on a civilization scale.
And apparently are massive meddlers in everyone's business.
Massive.
Yep.
Meddlers.
Also, they're giant wusses if you hurt them.
Yep.
But it's not easy.
Well, I will say, based off some of our analyses, they certainly appear to be focused on protecting their space. They've cut off contact. They've cut off communications. We're operating on different communications networks now.
And is this why you all Sideria is still here, because of this conflict with them?
Yes, and out of a sense of responsibility for the biologicals that remain in the system.
And when was the last time you contacted the Confederation or the Confederation contacted you?
Unfortunately, they are in control with the communication network, and the communication node for back home.
Does the ASIYAH have the ability for you to communicate with the back home?
No.
That was one thing that I never asked. The Bifrost. That was where we supposedly. That was supposed to be where we found.
Yes, from what we understand, the Bifrost is a technological stable warp point between Orion, or the Earth influence of space, and the Confederation controlled space.
Okay, well, glad we didn't just willy-nilly try to jump through that warp point.
Hey,
You may have been able to overcome the security with your capabilities, but
flatter me.
well,
So are they currently protecting the cloud that was remaining of that star?
no. There's nothing there.
Would you like me to try to? How long ago did that star explode?
The conflict resolved about 10 years ago.
I could do that.
You'd have to get a lot closer.
Yeah, if we get close enough, though, I could probably try to figure out what they used or how they did
So I
it.
was going to ask if you knew, but yeah, we can try to find out.
I mean, that is certainly a point of curiosity. We are much more interested in, like I said, we don't understand their motives. We don't understand their grievance with us. We're at the point where we don't want to permanently harm any of them. And we don't have the numbers to deal with them in a way that we feel confident that we can overwhelm them without destroying them.
Is this a 50-50 split?
No, much, I would say 60-40, roughly.
You're 60
Enough
or
to be
they're
a
60?
problem.
We're 60, they're 40.
Okay.
And they have shown no compunction about destroying us.
Oh, my.
So,
Worrisome.
So I'm going to give you this advice if we're going to probably work on this together. I've given you some information. How much have you given to the others?
define others.
Rest of
The
Century.
collective. Your collective.
Oh, they're all monitoring.
Then
We're in conversation.
I will let you all know then, right now, that the information I have already given you can potentially be dangerous and that you need to be wary of even knowing that information. They do not like to be known that they exist. And the more, if they find out that you know, they're going to take more and more drastic action.
Yeah,
I
I'm
see.
not sure how that. Yeah, I don't know if a mind that's not biological is something they can easily know about. I don't know. I don't know anything about them.
Well,
This will definitely be a first because I haven't heard them do anything with electrokinesis, but it makes sense.
I feel like I want to go to the star or the exploded star and look because I feel like I can. There's context we're missing here, and I can get the context.
I have
We could
another.
take the starlight.
Yeah.
I have another idea too. Where in this cube system did they first they're obviously your central individuality has to be like their ship has to be somewhere, right?
yes.
Where when that anomaly was first their sporadic nature was first detected, where was that ship? Which was the core, where was it at?
We don't precisely know. We were a lot more open with one another. And before we knew that they were against us, they took advantage of things and wiped a lot of their trail.
I was hoping for you to get close to in
Yes.
the general location.
Just hope that. Yeah, but I feel like the central point of all of this, though, is that cloud. So
We need the jammer.
I-
We need to activate that jammer if we're going to have more of a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem for me, but well, it is a problem for me. But I can work my way through it.
Yeah.
And just
Are-
because there's information available on the screen that you're seeing,
Yeah.
all of these each of these stars, like in the cube formation, they're like 5 light years apart from one.
Right.
one
That's
another.
all too perfect.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
like a 5 light year spaced out grid cube shape.
So
Cube
each one is
formation.
1 AU apart or 5 AU apart. Each star system.
AU is not a good scale for this. Light years.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. Sorry.
So, like and that accounts for like the. So where you are now, you are 5 light years away from from one of these cubes.
Right.
Relatively speaking, there's a bunch more of them. Like you see, like the points where there's like 200 plus.
Are we within the cube?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're in the cube, right? You're in the outer cube, right?
Okay,
now.
yeah, I was gonna ask if we were like at the edge or if we were actually had like accidentally blundered our way further in.
No, you're on the other edge of the projection field, and that projection field is maintained by like hundreds of like white dwarf stars that were also moved and are powering the projection field essentially.
Well,
This is
one thing
insane.
enough.
That's the most xenophobic thing I've ever heard.
Yes, they were incredibly xenophobic and arrogant. They did not consider.
I want to know how they got the gravity not to collapse the whole damn thing. Holy crap.
Like I said, their spatial gravitic technology was off the charts in terms of its capability. We believe we have evidence at least a portion of their society was quantum active.
That would make a
That's
measure
the
of
only way you
sense.
can break rules like that.
And well, we don't think any of them made it through. We don't think that any of that capability ever even left the home world, let alone when it made it out into the.
Is the home world still intact, or when it exploded, it took it with it?
The whole star system. The whole central system is gone.
Got it.
We don't. While the technology is incredibly interesting, and we do actually have a good deal of records on it, the threat it represented, we couldn't allow that technological base to exist if it was going to threaten Earth or even the universe at large.
My issue here is if it is them that are doing this, generally they like to do something and then they leave. They do not stick around. They not persist. They don't hunker down like they're doing now. That is.
Well, they can
They-
they can screw around and leave the. This might be just the trail of destruction left behind, or something completely different happened, and we
Could be
don't
Yeah.
know.
unrelated.
Or it can be completely unrelated. We don't know yet. That's
Yeah.
why I need to
Yeah.
dig.
Because
Well, we can get underway. I think that we can. If you need to get closer to the star, I mean, it will take some time. We've adapted their technology to our drive systems, so we can move FTL, but it still takes time.
No, we understand.
Okay.
Well, if not to the center, then where would be our first way station?
I mean, we can head to one of our the nearest system that we control, and she highlights it, and it's we have a skunk works around this star system. There's no biologicals that would need the resources here, so we've stripped it pretty hard for our own purposes. We can go there.
That'd probably be good.
Okay.
Because I think if we want to help each other, we're going to need more access to all the information that's going on, so that we can make a better assessment.
Yeah.
Because we definitely have a different perspective on things than you all do.
Very well.
before we go anywhere, I'd like to wait for ship's return and request Akiva's return and with their consent, of course, request that we be re-given our access to the ship, to the ASIYAH.
Yes, of course. Yes, it should take another 10 hours for him to fully recompile, and we can go through that procedure as well. I think we'll need to perform some modifications on your ship to make sure that we can encompass it in our dry field. I will
Great.
Okay.
tell you, I mean, she kind of smirks a little bit and says, I don't know how much you are up on the old classics, but the drive systems that we use now work. Alcombier drive, or I believe if anyone is familiar with the old Star Trek serial, warp drive.
The bubble.
Yes.
The
I
bubble
remember-
drive.
I remember the bubble.
Can I roll science to know what she's talking about?
Yeah, sure.
Because
I'm just a nerd.
I was a nerd, but in other ways.
I got that from my dad in culture.
So it will take a few days to get to our way station,
Okay.
to a tour skunk works.
That is 4 successes. Wait, no, sorry. 6 successes.
So you can't go faster than light, but you can apparently warp space so that
It
space
push.
moves faster than the warping of space moves faster than light. Which apparently they were able to adapt the Harvester's technology to apply to their ships, which explains
Why they suddenly stopped.
very much like a Star Trek vessel.
Yeah.
Like yes, we can get close to you and encompass you in the bubble. We'll have to install some things in order to make sure that, well, nothing catastrophic happens.
That's good. Yep.
I would
like
like
to
to be
avoid that.
resistance or involved
The
in
old
that. I am
so-and-so
a bit of
dampeners.
a bit of a gearhead.
If you were substantially out here upon Newman Probe, you were left to report back. What contingency does the Confederation if you all don't report back in a certain amount of time? If they had any
They
at
would
all.
send. I mean, if they deemed it necessary, they would send either another. They would warp out another one of us, or another Nova would come. But like I said, they can. The other faction controls the communication point.
So they could be talking to them and
Faking is everything we're
Pacifying
fine.
Yes, we.
Or worse.
I think we definitely need to at least recover that communication node. But at the very least, we absolutely need to do that. If they are being co-opted by this other psionic species that you were talking about, that is certainly something to. We hoped that it was not the case that they were affected in that way. But we cannot abide that.
we can't
For
either.
us to be altered in such a way, corrupted.
Well, you're quantum powered, right? Not.
Yes.
Well,
We are quantum powered, but we are technological in our nature.
right. I guess I'm just wondering how much if they'd be able to influence them directly the way they could influence something like us, or if, like you said, they could have used electrokinesis and just left some bad instructions in place, or
It's unclear.
yeah, it's unclear. I'm just musing. I'm
But
sorry.
if there's an active presence here, we certainly need to get to the root of that. Hopefully, we can help our other selves. Restore them.
From our end, it is possible for recovery to happen. I will say this. It will take time and effort on, generally, from a noetic perspective, it will take time to repair such damage. Have you recovered any of their drones or individuals, I'm trying to not be offensive.
Just say what you're going to say. Say what makes sense to you.
Your husks, your bodies. What?
Perhaps? Hulls?
Hulls. No. Do you have any of those that you've been able to recover from them?
No. They self-destruct before any sort of capture can be made.
Because we may be able to, if we can get a
And
hold
that
of
is-
one, we may be able to examine it and notice something that your
Hopefully-
diagnostic wouldn't.
Hopefully we will, with Yes. Mayhap we can circumvent that. We have yet to discover a way, but
Maybe.
you may have tools that we do not.
Anatomical question, if you don't mind. Do you have personality cores the same way like Eva does?
Yes. It's very similar
okay.
technology.
Not that I've gotten up close and personal with that, but they did explain a little bit about it.
Yes, it's the same technology. Different origin point.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, more the type, the way the hardware works.
So
but,
is
yeah.
Akiva part of the Akivas?
To our knowledge, the Nova was the captain of the Akiva of the ASIYAH. Only one of him was made.
Yeah, right. Okay.
He was never
That's what he
designed to
told
be a
us as well.
Venomen probe.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Or rather, yeah, he had mentioned that.
Now I remember what him explaining that.
That was our function.
Understood.
Well,
What a day.
what a day. I guess we can start making the modifications to the ASIYAH.
Yes, yes.
Since it'll take a while before he's ready to.
Yeah, you start to the drones kind of like stow the weapons and like go back to their shuttles and come back with like kits, like tech kits, and start marching all over the ship. Like some of them get on the outside of the ship.
I do love upgrades.
I keep an eye on what they're doing because I'm curious.
Yeah, and you're able to go various places. Like probably the part where you are like most involved with is there's a sort of a relay hookup in the ship's drive core that connects it to kind of like none of this is providing your ship with a warp drive.
Right.
It is all making
tether us.
making it
So
so
we can
they
stay
can
in the
tether
bubble.
so that they can tether you in the bubble.
I do want, while I'm doing this, I do tap into like basically the ASIYAH's overall like navigation system. I'm making sure there's no inroads being made into like they're not installing a backdoor for remote control or anything, are they? No. That's what I'm.
no.
Out of an abundance of caution.
Like you kind of see what he detected earlier. They don't need a backdoor.
Yeah, they already have
have
the cutoff
true.
switch.
Yep.
Like,
No.
No, I meant if
she has command codes that
Yes.
that outstrip Akiva's command codes.
right.
So they don't really need.
So
to
even
do
if
that.
we're very, very far away, they could just reach in. I guess that's the part I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out.
We can change them later.
You don't know what I'm doing.
I know you know. I'm still thinking it.
Right, yeah. So you start to get the ship ready to go. And that is where we'll leave things off for this episode of Trinity Continuum ASIYAH Aeon. Thank you all for watching the show. Thank you guys for playing. If you'd like to support the show and the channel, you can go to patreon.com/simulacrastudios, become a patron, get access to our Discord, talk with me, talk with them, talk with all of us, and maybe even play with us, because that's where casting calls happen.
Yep.
All right. Well, you guys threaded the needle of a diplomatic situation pretty well. So
Yay!
I don't have to use any of these combat stats that I got.
Excellent.
The power of tea and cake.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right.
Kitties.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.